So hopefully what I'd like you to start doing is, it sounds straightforward to keep the customer at the center, but you need to plan for it, and you need to build a strategy from the ground up to make sure that everybody in your organization is on board, and make sure all of your marketing communications are consistent. And these are just some steps that I'd like you to have a think about. Number one, understand your customer. It's a 3-word sentence. It's a big, big job, and it's an ongoing process, and it's something that you need to proactively engage in. So you need to be putting yourself in your customer's shoes. You need to be communicating with them, getting feedback, understanding who they are, where they are. And you also need to know who your good customers are. Because, and again, this sounds like it might be something obvious, but I see an awful lot of marketing activity that's wasted because it's being pushed towards people or customers that actually aren't driving that much revenue or profit for your business. Chances are a certain subset of your customers are the ones that are paying the bills. So if you can understand that, and you know which of your customers are the most profitable, which are the best customers, that allows you to allocate your budget more appropriately, and that allows you to focus your activity more appropriately. And you need to know where your customers are, how they spend their time, how they prefer to communicate. You know, you think about if you're marketing to young adults, for instance, marketing via email or via desktop-based websites isn't going to be hitting them because they communicate primarily via mobile phones. So you need to make sure that your website's responsive, that you've got the mobile marketing in place to reach them if that's your target audience. Likewise, I've spent an awful lot of my career working marketing products to schools, and you need to know that if you try and contact a teacher at, say, 10:30 in the morning via telephone or email or a tweet or social media, they're not going to see it because they're going to be in a classroom teaching. So understanding where your customer is at any given time and how they prefer to communicate is critical in choosing the right channels and the right timing and the right methods for telling your story. Once you've done that, you can map out that customer journey, that sales cycle that we showed earlier, and start identifying those touch points and those opportunities for communication. And you can start to identify appropriate communication channels for each of them. And there might be multiple. There might be you might want to hit people with an email and a sales call and put some tweets out on Twitter, or have it simultaneously or in short stages to hit that particular touch point and move people on to the next phase of the cycle. And you need to set objectives. I said before, everything's measurable. So understand what you're trying to achieve for each phase of that customer journey and each step in the cycle. And budget and allocate your resources based on that. Once you've done all that, you can move on to the creative, and this is, again, what an awful lot of marketing professionals, myself included, get quite excited about, because this is often the fun stuff. It is the actual execution of your marketing campaigns and your communication strategies. And you need to be telling a compelling story. You need to be showing your customer why what you do is in sync with their needs or their desires or the problems that they want to solve. And I would argue that in this day and age, especially with social media, that can't just be a one-way communication. You need to try and engage with your customers, and also wherever possible put a personal face on it, especially if you're doing a lot of marketing via social media. You need to, for people to share your content, interact with your content, click like, they need to see a face, they need to see a story, they need to see something they can relate to rather than just a sales pitch. And be consistent. And this comes back to the point I was making earlier about keeping that communication across the whole organization. The tone of voice that you speak to people in, the kind of message that you send out to people has to be consistent across all of your marketing channels, because if it's in any way disjointed, your customers will notice. And then finally, measure whatever you can, gather as much information, data, feedback as you can for all of these things. For digital, this becomes quite easy because there's loads of tools out there, from Google Analytics to Facebook Insights to third-party tools that you can buy in that will track and measure your interactions with your customer. But you can also do it just very much more prosaically, just making sure that your customer service team always asks where the inquiry has come from. Just a very fundamental thing that people often forget, or your customer service team just feel they don't have time to do. But gathering that information and feedback is absolutely critical. And then you test new things, you repeat what works, you discard what doesn't, you test new things, you repeat, you discard, you measure, you test, and so on. And that way, hopefully, you have a plan that you can execute that keeps that consistency of communication with your customer across all your business areas, puts the customer at the heart.